One of the most common games played by judgment debtors is the asset transfer. Realizing that a creditor is about to win or has already won a judgment, they convey their assets to a family member, a spouse, or a business entity, often for nominal consideration or for free, so there's nothing left to collect. This is called a fraudulent conveyance or fraudulent transfer, and it's both avoidable under civil law and potentially criminal under fraud statutes. Here's how to identify, investigate, and challenge fraudulent asset transfers. The legal framework. Under the Uniform Fraudulent Transfer Act, adopted in most states as the Uniform Voidable Transactions Act, a transfer made by a debtor is avoidable if it was made with actual intent to hinder, delay, or defraud creditors, or if it was made for less than reasonably equivalent value at a time when the debtor was insolvent or became insolvent as a result of the transfer. The actual intent standard is difficult to prove directly. Debtors rarely send emails saying, "I'm transferring this property to hide it from my creditor." Instead, courts look to what the law calls badges of fraud, circumstantial indicators that suggest fraudulent intent. Classic badges of fraud include the transfer was to an insider, a family member, business partner, or close associate. The debtor retained possession or control of the property after the transfer. The transfer was of substantially all the debtor's assets. The debtor concealed the transfer. The value received for the transfer was inadequate. The debtor was insolvent or became insolvent after the transfer. The transfer occurred immediately before or after a substantial debt was incurred or a lawsuit was filed. The constructive fraud standard, inadequate consideration plus insolvency, doesn't require proving actual fraudulent intent. If the transfer was for less than fair market value while the debtor was insolvent, it's avoidable regardless of intent. The remedy for fraudulent conveyance is avoidance. The transfer is set aside, and the asset is treated as if it's still in the debtor's hands for collection purposes. The creditor doesn't own the asset, but can enforce against it as if it hadn't been transferred. Investigation is critical. Professional asset investigation that identifies transfers of real estate, recorded deeds are public, vehicle transfers, DMV records, and business asset transfers, UCC filings, business registration changes, provides the factual basis for a fraudulent conveyance claim. People Locator. Skip tracing provides the asset history investigation that identifies fraudulent transfers. Visit peoplelocatorskiptracing.com to place your order.